Hello and welcome to episode 27 of the Read Between podcast, the improvised storytelling podcast where we take the internet's weirdest suggestions and turn them into weird, wacky, and crazy stories through the power of improv. I'm one of your co-hosts, Evan.
I am Lynn. I'm your other co-host.
And today we are back with episode 27.
We're going up. We're getting up there to 30.
Yes. 27, we're now able to come off of our parents' insurance plan. Well, our pod.
Well, that was last
Oh,
episode,
that was last
technically,
episode.
and that's not fun.
No.
I recently passed my 90-day mark at my job, and they gave me a paper, and we're like, hey, you're eligible for health care. We're going to take $200 out of your paycheck weekly, like bi-weekly. Have fun with that. And I went, no, I am 24, buddy.
Yikes.
I got 2 more years.
Yikes.
It was a lot. I was like, that's like a lot of my money.
Yeah, I get quite a bit of money taken out from my paychecks, you know.
That's bonkers.
But, you know, it is what it is. It's the life. It's the life we lead as adults. But fret not, we here at the podcast, we here at the Read Between podcast, do not have to worry about such things because this is a podcast, not a job. We're not getting paid for it yet. Sponsors, if you're out there and you want to sponsor on this show.
I would love to promote your thing.
Yeah. I mean, I use Dollar Shave Club. I use Quip.
I use Dollar Shave Club.
You do? Yes.
I do.
We do. We use these products. Why don't you sponsor us? But we're still younglings in the podcast game, so we got some ways to go yet.
Just keep in mind that these babies are ready to promote you.
Oh yeah, I've been working on my ad read voice. I've been doing all that stuff. So
we are banner babies. You just put your ad right on us.
I mean,
we will make it work.
I mean, I'd like to still wear normal clothes and not have to be a walking advertisement, but
banner babies.
I mean, we'll try it. We can try it.
Yeah, give it a shot.
Give it a shot. So this week on the show,
yes.
We ran a little low on time in order to record this.
I just woke Evan up from a nap.
Yeah.
By coming home from my mom's house.
It happens.
It's almost 8.
Yeah, we've
on Sunday.
We've had a busy week. We've had a lot of stuff going on, but we still wanted to get something out to you guys. And this week is actually really exciting because our friends over in the Mabim Bambinos podcasters group on Facebook have started a new thing weekly with a suggestion thread. And this was, I figured, a great way to kind of start getting the word out there about getting some suggestions from audience and listeners and people who, want to hear their stories told. So what I did was I went on that Facebook group. I posted about, getting suggestions for strange book titles like we normally do in our episodes. And boy, did we get some interesting responses.
That's awesome. And thank you for everybody who took time out of their day to give us a suggestion. That's awesome.
Yeah. I mean, taking 5 minutes out of your day to give us a suggestion really helps. We're going to keep a bunch of these. We're going to just keep them so that way we can, pull from them as time permits and, as we go through different episodes.
Revisit it when we can.
Yeah, absolutely. And we'll be coming back to that thread every week and kind of getting some new stuff. So yeah, thank you to everybody who submitted suggestions. We really do appreciate it. I want to go through a couple of them and shout out the people who suggested them.
Sure.
And then we can kind of pick from the few that we heard from.
Okay.
So first, from Stefan Ito from the Talking with Dinosaurs podcast, which is the world's #1 comedy dinosaur podcast trivia.
Hell yeah.
Hosted by a New Zealander.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah. And he says sometimes you have to be specific to be #1. So I can definitely appreciate that.
I do.
So one of the ones that he submitted that I really liked out of this group was death of a series of people with highly specific occupations.
Okay.
That's a very interesting title because there's a lot you can call.
There's a lot going on there, huh?
There's a lot going on there.
Gotta unpack a little bit.
Yes, I think that's fun though. So next we have Jen Freymond from I Never Saw That. She submitted one called "That's Not Food!" !
Oh my God!
Yes,
Jen.
That's a great title.
I love it.
I mean, what cannot be food?
A lot of things.
A lot of things cannot be food. So
I can name multiple, but I love it. Okay.
Okay, so we have Erin King from Unabashedly Obsessed and Podcast Detected. She submitted a couple here, but one that I really liked was A Rosé by Any Other Name.
Okay, that sounds so romantic.
That sounds like a romance novel waiting to be written.
It's like that paperback you get at Giant.
Yeah,
you're like, I'm gonna read this when I go to Avalon, New Jersey. That is a very Pennsylvanian thing that I just said.
It's like the book you find at your grandmother's house when you go over there during the summer.
It's
you
like
find
on her bed. It's like on her nightstand.
It's on her nightstand, or it's in her living room in like her TV like tray thing.
Right. And you're like, she's definitely read this more than once.
Oh yeah, because like there's the pages are like dog-eared and stuff like that. There's highlights in it for some reason. Like
hey guys, I'm 24 and I highlight my favorite quotes in my books.
I mean, like, she was highlighting it like it was a school project. Like, you know, when you had to read like 1984 in high school, I had to read 1984.
I never read 1984.
And put Post-it notes over like certain pieces of, like, my book was like 3 times as thick by the time I was done with it. So.
I do that for funsies. I get a pencil and I'll lightly underline my favorite quotes in books. One of my favorite books, Invisible Monsters by Chuck Palahniuk. Like, you will see where I underlined. I do it all the time. Who
hurt you that you do this?
I just really like literature.
Just kidding. I'm just being an asshole about that.
Obviously, I'm the one that reads.
Our good buddy James Anderson, also from Unabashedly Obsessed, and also from Blink and You'll Miss It. If I can say that right, I want to promote him right. Blink and You'll Miss It, which I've guested on a few times. He submitted the title Chester A. Arthur, Bionic Merchant Marine.
Oh my God.
That's definitely an autobiography.
So is that like, he's a bionic merchant, but he's also a Marine?
Yes.
So, okay, I have questions.
Well, let's save it, because if we decide to do it, we'll explore it. A couple more here. From Eddie DeSantiago from the Game Go podcast. He submitted Moby's Dick.
Okay.
Yeah. Another one that you probably find in like the $2 book section.
That sounds like the kind of book I would find on someone's toilet seat.
Oh yeah.
You know, like when you're pooping and you're like, this is taking too long.
Like one of those funny book. Like one of those books that has like 1,000 jokes while you're sitting on the shitter. Like
Right. I think I own one of them.
I think I have one.
Right.
Yeah.
We just don't put them out.
Yeah. And then finally for this week, from our friend Frank, excuse me if I pronounce your last name wrong, Karamarudis. I believe I got that right.
All right. Let us know, Frank.
From Denver, from the podcast Denver to Down Under. He gave us the title of Things I Was Going to Do Before I Got High.
That could be a list. I mean, there's a song.
Oh, yeah, Afro Man, yeah.
But that's a
because
list.
I got high, yeah. But that's a list. So, Lynn, out of all those titles that you heard from all of our good friends,
so many.
What would you like to tell the story of?
So many. Oh, why do I have to choose?
Because, you're the co-host.
So are you.
Yes.
We co-host together.
I pulled the suggestions. You pick the one that you like the most. Because you know me. I'm an improviser. I'll do whatever is given to me.
I'm only an improviser over the internet.
Hey, still an improviser.
Let's do That's Not Food.
That's Not Food. All right. So, from our friend Jen Freymond from I Never Saw That, we will tell the story of That's Not Food.
Thank you, Jen.
Thank you, Jen. We really appreciate it.
So, Jen.
So this is Jen's.
This is Jen's autobiography.
This is Jen's autobiography. That's Not Food, the story of Jen Freymond.
Poor Jen learned at an early age that you cannot eat sand.
Jen spent most of her childhood in the sandboxes at school.
Yeah.
But the thing was, she wasn't she was actually being very professional about eating sand. She was trying it with different things. She would bring in things in her lunch and just pepper in a little bit of sand to see how it tasted.
Right. And then one day she thought maybe I can make a cake out of sand.
Yeah.
So she got one of those molds and, packed it real tight. And
basically, all she did was she substituted flour. She substituted sand for flour in a cake recipe. Right.
And then she added all the rest.
Yeah.
And so when she pulled off the mold, it came out perfectly. And thought, oh, great. Sand cake. Cut right into it, took a bite. Not bad. Sans the raw egg, but whatever.
So wait, sans the raw egg. So if it's in sand, it's not going to be cooked, do you think?
Well, I mean, you can't bake it without it getting too hard, I'd assume.
True.
Right? And I mean, eggs are you get there's normally like 3 eggs in a cake.
Right. Yeah. You would know. You're the baking expert of the two.
I bake a lot.
You do.
Like, so normally you put 3 eggs. If you want it fluffier, you could add another egg. But yes, there's normally eggs in cakes. So I would assume, in my mind, right, if you want this cake to be firm yet edible, and you're using sand instead of flour, you wouldn't bake it.
Right.
It would get too hard.
Right. Exactly.
So I mean, like, if you're cool with salmonella, you're cool with this cake.
Right. So once Jen kind of went through the sand phase of her experiment, she wanted to try other things to see if they could be used as food. And she was documenting her journeys and, wanting to create a cookbook. And her ultimate goal was to create a cookbook saying that's not food,
It's basically kind of like a scientific experimental cookbook
Yeah.
where it's like, hey, sand cake, not food. Actual real cake, food. Here's
yeah.
a recipe for actual real cake.
Yeah. But also here's a recipe for sand cake if you want to try it and hopefully not die.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
So let's go through some of the other recipes she came up with. So one of the other things she used was she tried to take oh gosh, what else was I going to think of? She was going to use dirt.
Yeah, that's a gradual step.
Yeah, because you know how you make dirt cups, those silly little dirt cup desserts.
Which are normally like some sort of chocolate mousse and like cookie crumbs. Only this time she was like, I think potting soil will be fine. Yeah. Scoop-de-boop, put it in the cup, let me eat it.
Yeah, and she still threw some Oreos on top.
Just for
added effect.
I needed some sugar.
Yeah. Yeah.
Didn't taste that great.
No, I can believe it. I'm sure it tasted pretty earthy.
Right. No pun intended, I assume. So she was like, all right, dirt, no. But dessert dirt?
Yes.
Dessert?
Dessert. That's what people now abbreviate dessert dirt.
Dessert?
Dessert cups.
Other options that she tried, glass.
Glass, yes.
That's not food.
That's definitely not food.
She thought, oh, well, I mean, like, if sand's not food, what if I cook it so hot that it turns into glass?
She tried to make glass candy. You know how people make the the glass candy? Unfortunately, she tried to make it out of actual glass. Didn't necessarily work out the best.
Couple trips to the dentist later, she realized, hey, not food.
Not food. Not food, $1,000 dental bill later and plenty of stitches in her gums and made her realize.
Talk for a while.
Yeah.
What else did she try to eat?
She tried to use like foam insulation. We're sitting in our basement and there's foam insulation here.
It was like cotton candy.
Cotton candy, yeah.
Know?
You try to flavor it with some sugar and some, other flavorings, and
she got that kind of insulation that you see like the spray-in insulation.
Oh,
you know, like people watch that as like the so satisfying thing.
Try to use that as Cool Whip on top of a pie.
Right. So she just and was like, perfect. Look how much it puffs up.
Yeah.
Awesome. Not food.
Yeah, and then but the problem is it hardens very quickly. So she puts it on top of a pie, and then you go to scoop it out, and the spoon just breaks when you try to go through it.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
So
because it's fucking insulation.
Because it's insulation.
Right.
Yeah.
Other things she tried to eat.
Yeah.
A couch.
A couch. Yes.
She thought like a leather couch could be like a leather jerky.
Yeah. You dehydrate it in a food dehydrator for a while. You throw some spices on it. You put some teriyaki sauce on it, and
it's good for your butt. It's good for your mouth.
Bing bang boom. It's a bunch of protein.
And guess what? Not necessarily.
Yeah. Not food.
Leather's normally tanned.
Yes. Leather is tanned and not necessarily safe for human consumption.
Right.
You're just supposed to sit on it.
So when Jen got her lengthy list of not food and food in one rough copy of a book, she had to find someone who would edit and publish it.
Yeah.
Took her a while. She immediately was like, Food Network will do it. I know they will.
Yeah.
They fucking hire some crazy bastards.
Guy Fieri. He would. I'm surprised he. Let me sidetrack here. I'm surprised he never got on the "that's not food" train because he eats garbage. He eats absolute garbage and shit.
You know that like at his restaurant, his nachos are called like
trash. They're trash can nachos. I literally saw a Facebook video about it earlier today.
Some people say they're the best nachos in the world, but my thing is why trash can?
Yeah.
Like, why couldn't you do, like, a nicer word than trash can?
Yeah.
Why did you have to call your food actual garbage?
Yeah, why can't you just do, like, piled high nachos or something?
Right. Or like, something more
Or
creative.
towering nachos. Like,
Something more creative than, hey,
it's a trash can. You want to just come and eat trash?
you know what's inside trash can? Garbage. You know what my food is? Garbage. Like,
You know what I am as a person? Garbage.
I am full of garbage.
Like, he just walks around his restaurants. It's just like, you just smell like wet trash. And it's just him walking around the restaurant just going, hey, Guy Fieri, hey.
When he walks, he makes like a weird squishing noise. And it's
Oh,
like,
God.
oh, no, you are definitely full of garbage.
He actually drives that Chevy Camaro that he rides in all episodes of Diners, Drive-Ins, and Dives. He drives like a Power Wheels version through his restaurants.
Right.
Just being like, I'm rolling out to the next table. Like an idiot. Folks, you can tell I really have a hatred for Guy Fieri. And trust me, I know people like him, and I know why people like him.
Why do people like him?
Because he's like loud and boisterous, and he wears flames on his shirts.
Okay, but let me see if I'm right. He hosted one of the like competitive cooking shows on Food Network.
I thought he was on like Food Network Star or something.
No, there was a specific show. It was a competitive cooking show.
Guys Grocery Games?
Yes.
Yeah.
And he would have 3 judges on.
Uh-huh.
But he would only make the chefs cook 3 meals.
Yeah.
So Guy was never supposed to get a dish, right?
Uh-huh.
But when judgment time came, he ate off of everyone's plate.
Well, yeah, because that's
like,
what he does.
Guy! I hate when people do that.
That's how he is.
Peeve.
That's Guy Fieri
but it's
for
just
you.
like, just make them cook another fucking plate, man.
But then they have to spend another 5 minutes plating another plate.
Fine, give him an extra 5 minutes.
No, Lynn, there's a set time limit they have to have on every show. No, I'm just...
It's just like, it's bonkers to me.
It's very bonkers, and why...
We really fell off the wagon.
We did, but no. The thing is, it goes back because like I said, Guy Fieri tried to get on this trend with Food Network a while ago,
right?
But it never worked,
right?
Because they were like, "Oh, he's too successful with Diners, Drive-Ins, and Dives and Guys Grocery Games. If he does something like this, we're gonna lose all that popularity."
This man is full of garbage. Let's just keep him in the garbage shows he's already in.
Yeah. So Food Network Publishing was like, "All right, Jen's an absolute unknown. We don't know who she is. Let's give her a shot. Let's see what happens."
Right. And so they decided, okay, I know you wanted a book, Jen.
Mm-hmm.
That was the original thing. You wanted a cookbook. But let's turn this into a TV show and make some money first.
I like how we're really taking this out of, this is just a book and we're telling the story of the book to this is how the entire book came to be and everything like that. I like this.
Yes.
This is interesting.
Oh, yes.
So Jen, we apologize that we're not actually telling the story of That's Not Food, but we're giving you a whole That's Not Food universe.
You're welcome.
You're welcome. We hope you enjoy.
So instead of it being just a cookbook, Food Network went, no, we're going to make a TV show out of it.
Yeah.
Get some fans behind this, and then we'll produce your first cookbook that co-aligns with the first season.
Yep.
And then your second cookbook will co-align with the second season. And Jen was just like, $, $.
She's like, ching, 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 everywhere. Yeah.
She's like, money, hell yeah, let me eat some glass, So the first season airs. And it's almost like Kitchen Nightmares in a sense where, like, you watch and you can't fucking believe some of the habits that these horrible restaurants have. People couldn't believe what the fuck Jen was eating.
Yeah.
And then part of the show was like, I ate it. Now I'm going to convince someone outside to eat it.
So it turns into like this weird man on the street, like, food show.
A little bit. She eats and she goes, all right, not food, but let's see what other people think. And then you just see her outside, like in Miami, Florida. Like, it's like, just like, try this. And people are like, what the fuck?
Have you seen Billy on the Street, like with Billy Eichner? Where he's like running through New York City, just yelling at people like, for $1, do this. And they're like, no. It's like, just do it. And he just runs away.
Right.
This is basically that, except she's just shoving food into people's faces. Mm-hmm. It's like, try this dirt.
Part of it landed in some really bad lawsuits.
Yeah.
She got sued a lot.
Yeah.
But also, the more she got arrested, the more fans.
Yeah, the more fans tuned in, because the thing was they wanted to see, what's Jen gonna get? What's Jen gonna get in trouble for this week?
It was like a weird cross between like Iron Chef and Cops.
Yeah, it's like it really is that weird demographic cross section between people who watch Cops at 8:00 on a Saturday night,
right,
and the people who watch Iron Chef America.
Right. So it's like, you like both. Well, guess what? You don't got to switch the remote anymore. You just tune in on the one channel, and guess what, baby? You got everything you need.
You got everything you need.
So,
we got tight police drama and cooking.
Quote unquote.
Quote unquote. That's the tagline. We got tight police drama, ... and cooking? Question mark?
So the first season went so fucking well.
Oh my God. Food Network's ratings were through the roof.
Oh,
I mean,
my God.
They were the biggest. It was the biggest rating spike they had seen since Emerald debuted on Food Network.
Bam, just like that.
Yeah.
New star.
Nice. Good job.
Thanks.
Great. But Jen came up with her own catchphrase for "That's Not Food." And Lynn, what was that catchphrase?
Dear God.
That's
yes.
It took the world by storm.
Oh yes. Especially when she hit the deer and like blood came out because she cut open her mouth a little too much. Eating the glass.
When she hit a deer, when she hit the deer?
No, like when she said deer.
Oh,
dear God.
Oh, okay. I'm like, she hit the deer.
No.
We didn't even talk about
Jen loves animals. She would never hit a deer.
Jen,
I apologize for Evan's comment earlier.
I just got confused. Like, I was like, what?
Jen would never hit a deer.
No, she would.
But she would eat a light bulb.
She did a very special episode for Thomas Edison's birthday.
Yeah.
Where it was all about cooking with light bulbs.
Yeah. It was electrifying.
God damn it. Oh gosh.
Oh man, I am great tonight. On fire.
You know, it was a very filamenting episode.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Mine was better.
Shut up. So the first season went so well of That's Not Food that she had to up the ante for the second season.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah. And so the title went from That's Not Food to That's Really Not Food.
Yes. So the big thing, was that Sweeps Week was coming up that year.
Mm-hmm.
And, they really needed an episode to, really catapult That's Not Food season 2 into the mainstream.
Mm-hmm.
The only way that Jen knew how to do that was she was going to do an episode about eating a car.
A whole car?
She was going to eat a whole car.
So with this, what was man versus? Was this like a man versus food, where she was given a time limit to eat the car?
Yes.
Holy shit.
Yes.
What did she do to practice?
So basically, she just ate tires. She would eat
she followed the Steve Burns path.
She followed the Steve Burns path.
Okay. Good job.
So if you go back to episode 17 of Read Between Podcast, where we discussed Steve Burns fighting John Cena for the title of the host of Blue's Clues, you will know that Steve Burns trained for that fight by eating tires. And that's exactly what Jen did to prepare for this
She
monster
saw
challenge.
Steve Burns beat the shit out of John Cena and went, I want to be exactly like that man.
Yep, exactly. So she practiced by eating, she would start out with small tires, from like little Power Wheels and things like that.
Mm-hmm.
Which unfortunately the Power Wheels tires are plastic. They're not rubber, so it's actually probably not that good.
Less chewy,
yes.
Right.
But that's when her cooking experience came into play, because she would saute it with some olive oil and a little bit of like fried garlic.
Loosen up that rubber.
Yeah. Loosen up the rubber a little bit, and
make it a little tender.
Yeah, exactly.
Melts in your mouth a little bit more.
It's literally melting as you put it in your mouth. So
it's that hot.
It's that hot, yeah. But no, so she worked her way up from like the small tires to like a bigger tire, till eventually she was just eating like giant tires from like 24-inch tires that you would get on like a pickup truck.
Okay, but there's so much more to cars than tires.
Right, which is why she also in her downtime was just gnawing on metal. Like she would
instead of kind of like when a baby goes to sleep and needs a pacifier.
Yeah,
she just chewed on metal.
Just chewed on metal. Yeah, her dentist was vehemently against the entire idea of this episode.
Well, especially after the glass incident.
He was like,
"Look, really?
Look, Jen, I'm not going to tell you how to live your life, but this is really dangerous, and I don't think the payoff is going to be that worth it, especially when you're probably not going to be able to talk because there's just so much it's bad. It's real bad in there.
Jen was just like, you don't know what you're talking about.
As she just gnawed on a piece of metal.
Yeah.
So basically how she did this was she would, like, in her neighborhood, you know how houses have, like, metal siding and everything like that?
Right.
She'd just walk by a house, rip off a piece of siding. And
Holy shit, Jen, you are strong.
And just gnaw on it as she was walking down the street.
Oh, my God. Jen, you monster.
It led to a lot of problems with the local homeowners association.
What a beautiful monster.
The HOA had numerous meetings about...
She was what was I going to say? Sorry. She was banned from a lot of neighborhoods.
Oh, yeah.
A lot of neighborhoods had restraining orders on her.
Yeah, you know how they have, like, neighborhood watch? Mm-hmm. A lot of neighborhoods in her area came up with the neighborhood Jen watch. Because they just needed to make sure that Jen didn't go around doing something weird.
Her face was just posted everywhere.
Oh yeah, everywhere. Mm-hmm. Everywhere. So yeah, after she trained with the tires, then she trained with the metal, and she already had experience with the glass, so the windshields and the windows were going to be no problem.
Yeah, oh God.
But the only thing that was going to be an issue was the engine. The engine block.
Right.
Is made out of solid steel. So, that's a whole new ballgame that she had never ever been involved with before.
In order to eat the steel, she had to learn a little bit about blacksmithing.
Yes.
How hot the steel had to be before it started melting.
Yep.
How hot molten steel could be before it kills her as she consumes it.
Yeah.
It took a lot of research. It took a lot of time to discover her abilities with this. But eating hot things was almost an understatement for our friend Jen.
Yes.
She had never done so, but she had attempted to eat lava.
Yeah. She went to there was an active volcano, I think it was in like Hawaii or something recently.
Yes.
Yeah, she actually went to that site and was, she had a cup. She had like
she had a cup.
Just
a regular cup.
Just a regular
to
cup.
Pick up molten lava.
Pick up molten lava and was just going to try to drink it, but by the time it got in the glass just exploded and
she was like, "All right, well this experiment's not going anywhere."
Yeah,
so she never got there, but
no,
she tried.
She did.
She had eaten hot pieces of metal. Mm-hmm. We've discussed the hot tires she's eating.
Yep.
Basically tar, I suppose.
And plus, she's like totally impervious to things like Trinidad Moruga peppers and things like that.
She's kind of like
she eats steel and glass. A hot pepper is not a problem for her.
Her insides are kind of like the Khaleesi of insides. So she was like, maybe this won't be that bad of a problem.
Yeah.
But she did her research. She made sure that what she was doing was safe. Mm-hmm. For her, at least.
I mean, all the doctors she consulted were like, what the fuck are you doing?
And all of her doctors were like, please, dear God, don't do this. And she was like, you don't get it.
Yeah.
My insides are like the Khaleesi.
Yeah, and she told her dentist again about this. He's like, are you fucking serious? Like, I told you, don't eat glass, don't eat anything else. Now you want to drink lava?
She was like, Larry, listen.
Her and her dentist are on a first name basis right now.
Well, I mean, she's been there so many times.
Yeah, I mean, she
practically paid for his pool. Let's be fucking honest.
all of her co-pays pretty much paid for his Mercedes that's sitting in his driveway.
That jacuzzi in his basement, it's all Jen.
Wait, jacuzzi in a basement?
Yep.
What?
Because he can.
I mean, hey, when you got...
Because he can, because he has Jen.
Hey, there you go.
Hey. Anyway, she was like, Larry, just let me fucking do this, okay?
He's like...
Do you want to get your kid to college, Larry?
Look, he's going
working on that scholarship for your kid.
Look, he's going to Villanova. I need the money.
All right. So why are you complaining? Because I'm going to come right to you, Larry.
You know what? Fine.
All right. Thank you for the okay.
Whatever. I'll take the money however I get it.
That's how she convinced all of her doctors.
Was that she's just going to pay them? Because
she was just like, hey, you want that beautiful, I don't know.
You want that new addition to the back of your house? You want that new like third bedroom you wanted to add to the rear of your house?
You still looking for that Range Rover?
You still in the market for an in-ground pool?
Baby, let me put shit inside my body.
Oh man.
So the day came, and she had to eat a car. What kind of car was it?
It was a 1987 Ford Crown Victoria.
Ooh, a little rusty, or
It had some rust on it. Yeah.
Ooh.
You know, I mean, basic wear and tear.
She had, a lot of tetanus shots.
she literally had a tetanus shot every 8 hours for
Right.
3 weeks leading up to the whole thing.
You know how people like dope on steroids?
Yeah.
Hers was tetanus shots.
Yeah, if you ever heard of the movie Icarus, it's basically that, except it was just tetanus shots.
Right. So it doesn't really do anything to your body.
Nope, just
keeps you from getting tetanus.
yeah, basically.
Ooh, and she had
So the day came, and
Yes.
she was very methodical about the way she ate the car.
Yes.
She took it in stages. So the first stage was glass.
Mm-hmm.
Get all the glass out, knock all the windows out, knock all the windshields out.
Did she like punch them out, or
Yeah, she punched them.
wouldn't that be harder to eat the glass?
No, I mean for her, like she's eaten glass in many forms. She's eaten it in like sheets.
I mean, you're right. It's not anything new for Jen.
Yeah, exactly. So she started with the windows because that was the easiest thing. She went through it already, and then she started with the tires because again, that's what she knows. She's already eaten those. And the interesting thing was this was an old cop car, so they had like those off-road tires.
Right.
So they had all this like gunk and stuff on them and everything like that.
Added some flavor.
Yeah, but again, she ate dirt. Didn't matter.
Yeah, she didn't care.
She didn't care. Then
She did have a giant glass of water with her.
Oh yeah, like
just like all of the professional eaters.
basically, it's like those 10-gallon jugs you see in offices.
Yeah.
She basically had one of those.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
Fair enough, Jen.
And then she also had like 3 bottles of Jack Daniels because the only way you can really numb the pain is alcohol.
So was she drinking that while she ate the car? Because I would assume that alcohol would sting when she started getting cuts all over her mouth.
It was an antiseptic, so like it would
Oh,
yeah.
smart thinking.
It
Jen.
was a thing to help.
Get drunk and sterilize
Yeah,
yourself.
exactly.
Yeah.
Sterilization. Yeah.
Cool.
So
she had about 24 hours to eat this car,
Yeah.
right?
and within the first 6, she'd eaten all the windshields. She'd eaten all the tires. She even used like barbecue sauce on the tires. She like
She got creative.
Yeah, she breaded and fried the tire rubber.
So it was like a weird eggplant parm.
Yeah.
Tire parm
Yeah,
situation.
tire parm. Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then the 14th hour came, and
Yep.
she was a little bit further.
Yeah, she was about halfway through all the metal around like the frame
Right.
and everything.
She was saving the frame for last.
Yeah.
The frame and the engine.
Yeah.
And so she had eaten about, a little bit over the trunk and was working on the hood a little bit.
Mhm.
And then, what was it, like the 20th hour came,
Mhm.
and she was running out of time.
Yeah.
She was running out of time. She was just starting to work on the seats.
Yeah.
The dashboard was taken care of. She still had to eat the steering wheel.
She'd eaten the steering column. She just threw the steering wheel on one of the seats.
Right. But
Just to finish it.
Exactly.
Until she was done.
Right. So, like, that was the 20th hour.
Mm-hmm.
22nd hour.
Mm-hmm.
She's got the first row done.
Yeah.
And the steering wheel. Now she's got the second row.
And the engine.
And the engine and the frame.
Yeah.
She was running out of fucking time.
But she had an ace up her sleeve.
What was her ace?
The ace up her sleeve was she had, in her travels about learning about metal, she had befriended a blacksmith. He was a Russian blacksmith. His name was Igor. And Igor knew exactly how to melt down a car into as small a bite as possible in a very short amount of time.
And nobody said that this was against the rules.
No, nobody, however, any means necessary to eat the car. That was the rules.
So with a bunch of leather and stuffing in her mouth,
Yes.
she shouts,
Igor! Igor, stop! Igor! It's time, Igor!
and Igor just pops out of nowhere.
He's just like, hello, I am here to melt car.
Igor, stop! Igor, the car, Igor! Igor, this is just melt the steel, Igor! Igor, do you hear it, Igor?
She couldn't take a break
Yeah.
from eating that because she was on the 22nd
hour.
Yeah. So she was running out of time.
Yep.
She couldn't speak.
No.
So Igor just had to translate
Yeah.
and make sure he understood what she meant.
Yeah. So basically, his plan to melt down the entire car was to he had sourced a bunch of lava from that volcano in Hawaii, and he just kept it. And somehow he knew how to keep it so that it would stay in its molten form. And what he did was he poured it over the entire frame and engine of the car, and it just melted it all down into like this sludge. And what he did was he packed it in real tight and just formed it into as small a ball as possible. Heat it up, form it smaller. Heat it up, form it smaller. Until he had a thing of metal about the size of a softball. So he'd taken the entire engine block and the entire frame of the car and condensed it into this one ball of metal that was about the size of a softball.
Okay. And just as the metal was the right temperature for her to eat.
It's about it was like nice 135 degrees, about the temperature of a medium rare steak.
Right. And that was just warm enough that it was still malleable to eat. And it wouldn't kill Jen.
Yes.
Jen finished the cushions.
Yep.
Grabbed this softball spherical thing of metal and chomped into it like a fucking apple.
Yep.
And just kept working around it, biting off the top, and then swallowing that last piece. And with a loud burp, she rose her hands in triumph.
Basically like Rocky when he reaches the top of the art museum steps.
By this time, she had a huge crowd around her.
Well, she'd invited an entire studio audience to the taping of this whole thing.
And she paid them all.
She paid them all.
Jen is broke.
Yeah,
She's fucking broke.
She made a lot of money, but like after all the doctor visits and dentist visits
and paying off
paying the audience, yeah, she didn't have a lot of money.
She wasn't.
And the whole time
she didn't live the life of a rich person.
Yeah. Unfortunately, the whole time the audience didn't react or anything because they just watched in horror. They were just like
they were more or less afraid.
They were like, what?
Jen was very proud of herself, though.
Yes, just as the blood streamed from her mouth.
She grabbed Igor's face and just smooched him right on the mouth.
Oh, God. Ooh.
And Igor promptly threw up and walked away.
And unfortunately, at that point, even though the episode did really well, That's Not Food was canceled after that episode.
Something about
Guy Fieri needing another show on Food Network.
Something about Guy Fieri finally just cutting himself open and letting the garbage pour out of him.
Yeah. Actually, I heard they were giving a show to his car. They gave his car its own show.
Oh, what was it called?
Like it's just driving around. It's just driving around to different cities. Just beep beep. Just like holding up traffic. Yeah, it's the intro
making illegal U-turns.
You know the intro scenes where he's stopped at a stoplight in the car. Mm-hmm. It's just basically that, except it's just the car. There's nobody in it.
Okay.
And it's just like beep beep, and it drives away.
And people are all pissed at it.
Yeah, but it was ratings gold. I mean, it beat out the Super Bowl that year.
Oh man.
Yeah. So.
That car's talented.
It is very talented. So.
That car is now in Papa John's old mansion with his 12 kids and 12 little scooters.
Bo's in the house. That was for all you H3 fans out there.
Oh
so,
my God.
I think that's the end.
The end.
The end. Wow. Okay, so
Jen, you okay after eating that car?
Yeah. But again, yeah, we didn't tell the story about a book, but more about a book that got turned into an entire shared universe with a television series and everything. So
and Jen was in it.
Yeah, and she was in it. Hopefully you like this and didn't think this was like.
She's probably like, I'm never suggesting anything ever again.
Trust me, this was all done in jest, in jest. That was really bad.
Oh, Jen, I am so sorry. On behalf of this podcast, I am sorry.
Oh, man.
Jen, thank you, though, for the suggestion.
Yes, thank you very much.
And thank you, everybody else who gave us suggestions. I really liked these, and I would like to keep them for future use. Not sure, like maybe we can do this weekly, or maybe we do this, bi-weekly, or maybe we do just, a separate episode with them. Who knows?
Yeah, definitely.
But I would like to keep these suggestions because it's a nice change of pace.
Absolutely. Yeah, I agree. It's always nice to get, suggestions from other people, and especially because sometimes our random generator can be really weird.
Our random generator, too, some of it gets a little repetitive.
Yeah.
So it helps when we have fans generate some ideas.
Mm-hmm.
Mix up the pie a little bit.
Yeah.
Put some little spice in it.
Yes.
Put some little car in that little pot.
Yes.
Mix it up.
Yes, exactly. So so to give Jen a shout out in her podcast, I Never Saw That. So basically the gist of her podcast is that in 1994 Jen was sent to a therapeutic boarding school in the middle of nowhere, Montana. That meant a lot of things, but one thing is that Jen missed 2 full years of pop culture when she was 16 to 18 years old. So Jen and her husband Micah revisit old favorites as they travel back to the mid-90s to watch, listen to, and talk about what Jen missed.
Jen, that's really cool.
That's a really sweet podcast.
I'm going to throughout that.
Yes.
I really like that idea.
Yes.
I listened to about 25. I was talking about this with Evan. I listened to about 25 podcasts throughout the week.
Yeah.
But I want to add that because that sounds like fun.
Yeah. So if you're listening, make sure you check out Jen Freymond's podcast, I Never Saw That. It's available on iTunes, and I believe it's also available other places. I'll have to take a look, but we'll be sure to put links in the description of this episode. So make sure you go check it out. Make sure you go support Jen. And again, Jen, thank you very much for your suggestion. We really do appreciate it.
Yes, thank you very, very much.
Yes.
Evan, where can people find you?
Yes, so people can find me on Twitter at E_Williamson93. That's where I post most of my musings and my daily thoughts. If you're in the Lehigh Valley, Pennsylvania area and are looking for some comedy, looking for some ha-has and some hee-hees and some hoo-hoos, you can come check me out as part of the Improv Comedy Power Hour at Steel Stacks every second and fourth Saturday. We actually have a show coming up Saturday, August 11th as part of the big 10-day music festival, Music Fest. It's the biggest free music festival on the East Coast.
Yes.
We have a free show Saturday, August 11th at 11:15 p.m. as part of Music Fest.
It'd be awesome if, you're going to Music Fest.
Yeah. If you're going to Music Fest and you're there, come check out some free comedy. The show is going to be bonkers.
The last time they did this, because they did Power Hour last year at Music Fest, there were huge crowds.
Yes.
And everybody loved it.
Yeah, it was a great time.
You guys filled up the theater, and I was so happy because not that you guys don't do that on a regular. You guys do actually have a decent crowd some nights, but to see you guys fill up an entire theater and everyone just be just in such a good place.
Yeah.
I'm so excited to see it again. Is what I'm trying to
That's
get
what
at.
I'm hoping for this. I'm just excited to go and eat food. But
that's our favorite part.
Yes. But for more information on that and other comedy shows at Steel Stacks, go to www.steelstacks.org/comedy. Now, Lynn, where can people find you on the internet?
Real simple. Hey guys, how you doing? How's life? Did you get that promotion? Oh, I'm so sorry. Or awesome, great for you. How's your animal doing if you have one? Anyway, you can find me on Twitter. It's AYNNELNN, twitter.com. That's what it is. Not the twitter.com part, but AYNNELNN and Lynn. Whatever I do on the internet, that's where I post it. I've been a little silent on the internet as of late. Who knows? Maybe that'll change.
Hey.
I've been working on podcasts. Speaking of podcasts, we have another one.
Yes, we do. We have another podcast called Nostalgia Cops.
Yes.
It is our monthly rewatch podcast where we go back through shows from our childhood and rewatch them with fresh 24-year-old eyes to see if we actually like them or not.
Yes. This upcoming month's, technically next month's. This month was Totally Spies.
Yes.
Next month is Hey Arnold.
Yes.
So please give a listen. You can find that on Apple Podcasts. You can find that on Stitcher. You can find that on Spotify.
Yes.
You can find that on Podcasts.
Yes.
Podcast. I mean.
Yes.
Who else? Where else?
That's
Anywhere else?
That's really it.
That's it at the
I think
moment.
on Google Play too, maybe.
Google Play.
I think.
Yes. Google Play.
Yes.
You can find that all there. You can
Yes.
follow us on Twitter at Nostalgia Cops. You can send us lists of TV shows if you want. If there's a TV show you think we don't have, send it to nostalgiacops@gmail.com. If you have more suggestions, or if you want to, let's say you do a podcast and you're like, hey, it'd be really cool if we could, get together and collab on podcasts together.
Yeah.
Email us also at readbetweencast@gmail.com.
Yes.
That's a lot of information in a bite-sized amount of time.
Yeah, geez, you really ran through that.
I am out of breath.
Hey, I'll take care of this one. So if you want to find our show, Read Between, you can find us on Twitter at readbetweencast. You can find us on Instagram at readbetweencast. You can find us on Facebook at facebook.com/readbetweencast. And this show is available on Spotify, on Stitcher, on iTunes, on Google Play, on YouTube, as well as Pinecast. So there's plenty of places to find this show. So if you like the show, make sure you leave a rating. Let us know how we're doing. And make sure you tell a friend, because this show really relies on word of mouth to get out to new people. And we've really been seeing a lot of growth recently, so let's keep that going.
It's awesome.
Yeah, it's really awesome.
Thank you so much for everything, guys.
Yeah. So I think with that being said, I think we're going to close for this week's episode. I mean, for being a shorter episode, we're running almost at the 50-minute mark. So...
Awesome.
Yeah, so that was...
I had to swallow for a moment. Awesome.
Yeah, so this was a lot of fun. Again, thank you to Jen Freymond. Make sure you check out her podcast, I Never Saw That. And we will see you guys next week. So thanks for listening, and we'll talk to you soon.
Bye.
Bye.